I think that we're always sort of putting together like a whiteboard of people's behavior, and like everything they do just goes on the board, you know? And it's like your behavior is just noted. And sometimes I put enough things on that board and I'm like, you can't be in my life. I've put together a profile, I've taken notes, and like, you can't be here anymore. But like other people, they change and they evolve and you move on.
You're listening to the Almost 30 podcast, hosted by Krista Williams and Lindsay Simsick. Almost 30 started as a conversation about the transition from our 20s to our 30s. But then we realized life is full of transitions. So we expanded our mission.
We are an intuition-led, wellness-focused lifestyle podcast that promises to deliver authentic conversations, diverse points of view, and insights rooted in optimism, growth, and intention. The Almost 30 Nation community is a group of purposeful dreamers who are smart, passionate, and always seeking the full potential in every aspect of their lives.
At Almost 30, we're making magic together. We dream it,
and then we do it.
Thanks so much for tuning into the Almost 30 podcast.
Here we go.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to the podcast. We're in Australia.
We're down under.
We're down under, and it's been fun. And I can't believe we're here.
I know.
Every day I'm like, how did we get here?
But also feels just like California. So feels like I'm in California. Australia's dope, but if you live in California,
not so dope.
You pretty much live in Australia.
It's the same. It's a mirror.
It's a mirror.
It's a mirror on the other side of the world.
Coffee shops, acai bowl places.
Except the Uber drivers here do not want to be
here. Yo, they do not want to be here. We've had some stories this week.
Lovely people, but just being so honest and vulnerable with us as people are.
Yeah. We're like coaching them.
You know, just kind of bringing them along.
We're trying to make them quit. Like we make everyone else freaking quit.
It was actually, it was a little heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Because like, I don't want someone to be unhappy and lonely in a place where I feel like they can't leave.
I know.
You know?
Do we say the situation?
Yeah.
So there was someone that our Uber driver was from Iran.
Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm. And he was sent over to Australia when he was 16.
Yes.
Illegally on a boat. He was on the boat for 20 days. And he was in a detainment.
Like a detention center.
Because he was illegally sent here for 2 years. And then he got out, and now he's ever since been trying to find his way. And he's an Uber driver, and he is really interested in chemistry. And this whole time he's been here working, sending his family money. So basically his family needs money all the time. So he continues to send them money. So it's almost like he was sent here to work for them.
Yeah, they'll call him every 6 months and be like, hey, your brother's getting married, so we need $5,000. Hey, your mom needs this procedure, so we need $10,000. And they kind of, from our perspective, like the way he was describing it, like they see his life here and they're like, you're rich and you're lucky, so like send us money.
Yeah.
And he just kept saying like, I feel like I'm in a prison.
Oh.
I know. Like wake up every day, work for 16 hours, go to bed and do the same thing.
We were like using all of our LA. We're like, you've got to create boundaries.
Yeah. I was like, manifest something different.
I know. I understand that
he's
you
like
want to be living your truth in chemistry, but no, but it was really it was incredibly heartbreaking. And that stuff's so expanding to just understand that like that kind of stuff happens.
I know.
And there's so much of, that those things that challenge people in that way. So yeah, that was crazy. We've had crazy Uber drivers this trip.
Apparently we were staying on a street in Melbourne that call girls hang out at. And we didn't know.
Of course. Our one Uber driver said that it was like the devil's street. We were like, okay. He also said he wanted to leave his wife and kids behind. And
he wanted to go back to Pakistan. Yeah.
So.
Because he has a lot of land there.
So we were like, what? We were so confused, but...
He's like, don't fall in love. I was like, got it.
Perfect.
Sure.
Check.
Sounds good.
So it's basically a street for call girls. The lady at the hotel that helped us host our event thought we were trash. I've never been judged so hard in my life.
Oh my God. So
I actually forgot what it felt like to be noticing of someone judging me so hard.
We had a quick walkthrough of the space, and Krista and I, we're just regular gals. We don't like to dress up unless it's an event.
She goes, "You guys all over the place from your trip? You
Did you not sleep?
Did you not sleep? You guys feeling a little out of sorts?" And I was like, "No, we've actually had a full 24 hours. We're just kind of chilling." She's like, "Oh, I can understand. You get all over the place when you travel for that far."
Literally, my hair was on the other side of my head.
I know.
Looked like a pancake, but whatever. Hey, man, this is not a formal meeting.
Hey, man.
We're walking through a space.
You're working for us.
We're walking through a space.
We're walking through a space. You're working for us. So, guys, let me know. Do you think we should say Melbourne and Byron Bay and Cairns? Or should we say Melbourne, Byron Bay, and Cairns? Justin thinks it's lame that I only have an accent on specific words and nothing else.
Every time.
Is it like if you're in Paris and you're like, Paris?
Let's go to the Eiffel
If you're
Tower.
like, yeah, exactly. But you're like, all right, let's grab an Uber to the Eiffel Tower.
Where's the croissant? Yeah. I think every time we've said it, people have complimented us.
Yeah.
Like, wow, you're saying it correct.
Totally.
Yeah,
they're like, you're fucking cool. You're fucking cool ass dirtbags.
Yeah.
I'm just being a little flirty girl in my underwear right now.
I know. We're literally in our Airbnb, which we booked 5 seconds ago.
Yeah.
Just being scrubby-dubba-dubs.
I'm just being like a little cutie in my underwear
Totally cute.
as a fucking 30-something-year-old.
Our feet
Like, isn't
stink.
cute anymore.
We're unbathed.
Yeah.
We're just like...
We're here, but we're excited to have
So
you guys.
pumped.
If you're new,
I know. Welcome to the podcast.
welcome to the podcast.
Almost 30. We started when we were just going through a lot of stuff, transitioning from our 20s to our 30s. And we realized it was so much more than that. Everyone's going through something, transitioning through something. So we wanted to create a conversation and community that would hopefully support you through that. And I think we're doing it.
Yeah.
I think we're doing it.
I always think we're doing it after live shows. It's
Yes.
so good to meet the women of our community. It was so beautiful last night to be in Melbourne and in Australia and just bring together, 80 or so women that didn't know each other. Some did, some didn't. Some women
Yeah.
came alone. And I am so fucking down with the flow of our events. I literally could not be more excited about them. It's the
Mhm.
perfect balance of like grounding, community, connection, conversation, laughing, depth. Like everyone feels like they're a part of it. Everyone feels like they're connected after. Everyone is having fun, but everyone is learning. It's like it's taken maybe a year and a half to get there. Everything's been good so far, but now I feel like so proud of our flow and I feel like it's very unique. So we're not telling you have to buy tickets.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I was thinking to myself, like kind of in the past when we've done events like years ago when we first started, I don't know if we were modeling after anyone. I don't think so. But I think I tend to, when I go to events, there's an imbalance of like either it's too informal and maybe loosey-goosey and not enough like groundedness and depth, or it's too much depth and like I'm overwhelmed. So like there really is an art to the balance of it all. And I think, I'm proud of that too. And the girls,
just think people want to talk too.
Mhm.
Like I think people want to hear from people, but also people want to feel like they're an active participant
Yeah.
and not just sit there and listen to someone. So I love that we have people conversating with one another and then us. And it's like, that just brings the energy to another level and just makes everything so much easier.
And it breaks like this, the fourth wall. So like, it's not just Krista and I like up there, like now it's time for our show.
Yeah.
It's just like, this is a conversation and we want to have that feel at the bigger live shows too, where people just feel heard and seen and like it's a conversation throughout because it's fun to quote unquote perform, but that's not really the point of it. And I don't know. I love the feeling of it because it takes the pressure off of us a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's 100. That's the main thing. Even though sometimes we perform.
Oh, for sure. I think our
like
little
in
sets.
Los Angeles.
Yeah. Ours. Oh, are we about to plug a show?
Yeah. Dude, you guys, we're so pumped.
Oh my
Our
God.
last live show of the year is happening December 7th in Los Angeles at the Dynasty Typewriter. It's a Saturday show, baby.
Saturday at 7:30. Like it's going to be a blast. There's a special surprise. We have Shan Booty as our special guest. And this conversation is just going to be juicy juice.
Juicy juice.
Sex, relationships, pleasure, dating, all the things. And what I love about Shan is that like she spends no time like bullshitting. There is just like this direct ride straight to the truth and some like honest conversation, which around these particular topics we have to have. We can't just be like, all right, so who's single in the room? She's like getting to the like, what's your favorite pleasure point? And like, let's talk about it and why and how we get there. And you're like, we were
talking last night with Rosie who was our guest here in Melbourne about one of our favorite speakers that we've seen, and Shan is mine. You know, she just she's magnetic, dude. Like I cannot take my eyes off of her. She's so beautiful, but she's just like a baller. Like her style is amazing. She's very honest and authentic. You like don't know what she's going to say next.
Confidence is off the charts.
Yeah, confidence is off the charts. She uses her body. She's just like she's the best. And I love our chemistry together. So our live show is going to be off the hook. Go buy tickets at almost30podcast.com/tour if we have some left. Bring your friends for a night out. It's going to be a fucking blast. Come alone. Our girls come alone a lot, which is amazing.
Yeah, and I think the Almost 30 LA group is meeting before for like drinks or maybe even dinner. So join that group if you're in and or around the area. The ambassador, Lauren Holly, is our ambassador for LA. And I think she's organizing that. So
yeah. And if you're new to the community or Almost 30, you're more than welcome. We would love to invite you in at a live show.
Yeah. Today on the podcast, we've got girls.
Gotta eat.
The homies are new. We love meeting pod girls.
Dude, pod girls for life.
Pod girls.
Chloe, our darling child, Chloe, introduced us to GGE a few months ago and just been huge fans. I just love the way that they've grown and built Girls Gotta Eat and just really setting a great example for all female podcasters out there. Their live shows are insane. Their shows are hilarious. They just are a great match together. And even talking to them about the behind the scenes of their business was just so interesting. I feel inspired by them and also aligned to a lot of what they're doing as far as it relates to like being business oriented, like being thoughtful about actually making money from this or making it sustainable. Just was like, I mean, they're amazing. They're so kind and cool.
Yeah. And so funny. And they hustle. Like they hustle.
Yeah.
It was like, I loved their energy. And so in this conversation, we talk a lot about dating. So they are based in New York. And so they have a, plethora of funny dating stories and kind of what they're going through in real time. They don't hold back on sharing like what's happening with them, which I like. I like that there's no shame around what they're going through. And if there is, they kind of say it. They're like, yeah, I'm kind of feeling that shame around this. So yeah, there are new friends. And if you are, I would check out their tour schedule, girlsgottaeat.com. They're traveling all around and their shows are so much fun. So if you can, make it to their shows.
Yeah. There's a one in LA. I think Chloe's going to. And I think, what is it? February 16th. And I think our team was going to get tickets too.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to go as like a team. So LA ladies, come chill. Girls Gotta Eat on the 16th. Come to the LA live show first. We'll chill. We'll have so much fun. And then we will be at all of the Girls Gotta Eat shows the next year.
Yeah. So thanks to Ashley and Raina. We love you. Thanks for joining us. And thanks to all of you for just supporting us. We can't wait to see you at our remaining shows, LA Live, December 7th, and then Miami on December 12th.
Woo!
In the new year, we're going to continue touring. So stay tuned for that. And follow us on Instagram at Almost 30 Podcast. We have an Instagram for Almost 30 Nation at Almost 30 Nation. And if you're looking to start a podcast, if it's really something that you are called to do, we've got you. We are relaunching Your Podcast Pro in January 2020, and we're so damn proud of it. So
you guys,
ready.
It's insane.
Get ready.
It's fucking beautiful. Tommy on our team has done such a great job. If you're looking to launch, grow, or monetize your podcast, Your Podcast Pro is the resource. So January 5th, that shit will be out, and it's going to be fire.
Can't wait. All right. We'll see you on the other side, y'all. Enjoy this one.
Peace and love.
Bye-bye. I can say this without a doubt. We would not have been able to get through this last leg of tour energy-wise without Athletic Greens. We take it with us everywhere we go. So whether we're traveling or it's before an event, like this is our go-to ultimate daily all-in-one supplement. 75 proven vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients that are obsessively researched to help you feel your best. So everything from, energy to immune and nervous system support, digestion, gut health, liver support. It has great antioxidants and superfoods for healthy aging, adaptogens for hormone and neural support. Like, it's insane. I've never seen or taken anything like this before and had the results like I've had. So I take this first thing in the morning. It is a part of my morning ritual. It's the first thing that hits my belly. And damn, my body is so happy. This is also paleo, keto and vegan friendly. There's high bioavailability. It's gluten and dairy free. And it is past their strict analytical and microbiological testing. We are so proud to partner with Athletic Greens. Could not be happier. And everyone who's tried it, we've had a lot of people who have come to our events and gotten it in our swag bags, tried it, and then started taking it as their daily regimen. So we'd love for you to try Athletic Greens. Go to athleticgreens.com/almost30 and you'll get 20 free travel packs valued at $79. So that's athleticgreens.com/almost30 and you'll get 20 free travel packs valued at $79.
Well, we're so glad you're here. Huge fans. We heard about you probably 6 or 7 months ago from Chloe on our team. She's like obsessed. Her and all of her friends are such big fans. They reference you guys all the time and we've been listeners ever since. And we are in this industry, so we see what you're doing and we really admire it because we know how much work it is. And we know how hard it is to differentiate yourself in the space and to like really be smart about the business that you're building rather than like just being talent like we were talking about before with your managers. So I would love to hear about the story of how you guys started, like how you met, what made you guys do a podcast.
Thanks, guys. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Also, we love what you guys are doing. And I was telling you before we started recording that I sent your website to our manager.
Oh,
because we loved it so much.
We're actually starting a spin-off podcast called Almost 40.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
perfect. We support. We stand.
I'm a lot younger than all of you, so mine's going to be almost 20. Sorry, girls.
Almost 25.
That's crazy.
But we met actually 2 years ago tomorrow. So I think some people think that we're like longtime friends and we're not, which I love because I feel like a lot of stories we share between each other are like new, fresh stories, which I think is fun. Like a lot of times I'll be saying something and it's the first time she's heard it as well, even though she's like my best friend now. But we met 2 years ago on like an influencer trip for people with big influencer followings on Instagram in Aruba at a beachside, toes in the sand dinner. We were seated across from each other and we just got to know each other on that trip. We stayed up the whole first night we were together and just like talked about guys and relationships. We crashed a wedding at the hotel that we were at.
Wow.
And we've been friends ever since. The story of how the podcast started is actually Ashley's idea. So I always say you tell the story
It's like
better,
you guys met on The Bachelor, like when they're like, we met at the top of New Zealand with like a helicopter date. Like you guys met at like the best situation
Yeah, and then we were
possible.
like, wait, is this friendship going to last past the past the fantasy suite?
And then we fucked and we're still here.
We fucked that night. No, good. I'm kidding. So we got back I think we got back from this trip and we were like, are we going to actually be friends in real life? And we hung out a few times and I had wanted to start a podcast for now. This is October 2017. If you're following along in the story. And I mean, I'd been wanting to start a podcast for 6-7 months at this point. I'd done like a tarot reading about it with a friend of mine. Like I had this guy I wanted to do it with. And then I just got a feeling he wasn't it. Like I was like, I want to start a like career with somebody. And I pictured like the tours and the whole life ahead of me. It wasn't like a hobby. So it was like, I want to find somebody to do this with that I really want to spend a lot of time with that I like, and a woman. Like, I just feel like at this time and period, I want to work with another like powerful woman I respect. So Raina and I just were always texting about guys and dating and crazy stories. And I thought she was super funny and quick and had the same type of life as me in terms of having flexibility and doing the Instagram thing. And she had a following, so she could like bring that to the table too.
Huge. Thank God you had that following, honey.
You can't just be hiring any muggle on the street.
Hire like
Totally.
So yeah, I just asked her one night. I was like sitting on my couch one night. I was like, I have to start this podcast. I can feel that it's the thing. It's my next move. because I had a background in like, I was doing stand up and I had done a bunch of radio and TV stuff back when I lived in Atlanta, and I was doing all these things. And I just felt like that was the next big thing. And I just texted her, would you ever want to start a podcast? And she said yes immediately. And I asked, are you cool with being open about your sex life and your dating life? And she was like, have we met? Like, yeah, what are you talking about? Because some people are like weird about, not that she had a job or anything, but parents or family members or ex-boyfriends or whatever. Like some people want to think that they are going to be open and they really aren't. And so I think that in all honesty, that was my like first fear, I guess, of working with somebody that I didn't know that well. Like, are they going to not be that open? Are they going to clam up and be like, oh, I don't want to say these things because I don't want like the image, or I don't know what it is, but we were just like brutally honest about our lives and our past and our present from the start. So
yeah. And I don't know about you, but like it definitely took me a second to like think through that. Like, how's this going to affect my parents? How's this going to affect my friends? Yeah. It was like a 30-second thought. I mean,
you really thought it through.
I mean, I told my parents it was happening. My mom doesn't listen. My dad doesn't listen to the show. My ex-boyfriends, friends. I've certainly made the mistake where I've talked about people's lives on the show, and I've regretted that a lot. And early on, I had a situation like that, and I'm glad it happened early, and that's never happened again. But yeah, we are both so brutally honest. I think that's what people like about our show, is that they're like, oh, they're not like, they're authentic. They're just talking about the mistakes they've made. You know, I think that's why people hopefully like us.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. People feel like they're just like talking to their girlfriends, and then they feel the permission to kind of share too. But like, have you ever had a moment besides the one like in the beginning, but even now, like in real time, like when you're dating and you're sharing on the show, I know like there's a disclaimer in your bio where it's like, if I'm dating you, you're probably going to be talked about on the show. Do you ever like,
should you update that?
Yeah, I should change that.
I like feel like Raina's like, wait, fuck. We wrote those really long ago.
Yeah, I could get more dick if I took that down.
We wrote that day one. We didn't even know if anyone was going to listen.
Because I love the like boldness of that, and I feel like if that's really you, then like the guy who you're going to date is going to be like, yeah, I'm down, whatever.
It's me with a grain of salt. So, you know, it's every relationship is different, and every person that I meet is going to be a little more private or a little less private. And I mean, at the end of the day, yes, I'm going to have to discuss it at some point if there's something going on. I think Ashley and I have a lot of discussions about, you know, when do you introduce somebody? When is it not important to introduce something? Her and I both dated people all summer, and it was sort of like, you know, when do we introduce those people to the audience? I've been on dates with other people, and I've talked about this on our show, but this guy who I like really was so crazy about, I was out with him, and he said dating somebody like you is as public as you is my worst nightmare.
Oh, wow.
And I went outside, I was crying. I was like standing on the street in the middle of winter, like just like sobbing. And it was like so upsetting for me, but that's not my person. And Ashley always says like, sorry, that's just what's going to happen. Like, we're going to talk about you.
Yeah. I mean, I think when I'm really open about a guy, like I don't like care about him so much. Like, you know, when we opened the podcast first few weeks, I was hooking up with this guy that was a lot younger, and the sex was great, and I had a lot of content from that, but I knew I wasn't going to seriously date the guy. So I actually think if he did listen, he probably wouldn't have loved it. I was just being like very open about literally everything. And I feel like such a dick, but of course I never said his name, no defining characteristics. No one could ever figure out who this guy was. The only person that would know would be him if he listened, but I just didn't care. And recently I told like the full story of how I kind of ended things with this guy. It's because I don't care. I'm not going to date him again. So on the duration of the podcast, I haven't really met somebody that I was like, I see a real future with, as depressing as that sounds. I mean, I'm not upset about it, but so it might feel a little different, but I would never say never, Justin Bieber. But like, I don't know that I could really be with somebody that was like, you cannot talk about me in the podcast. Because A, that's my career, but B, like, we're probably just not this right type of people. Because aside from the podcast and my stand-up and all that kind of stuff, like, my family is not really private. Like, we kind of share things. Like, my friends, like, if you're this super duper private person, we just probably won't work on another level aside from like the career, the job stuff. So
yeah. We're not like crazy reckless people either. So like, I don't think there's anybody, friends, exes of ours, family members, that feel like we put anybody on blast. Like, all of my exes listen to our show, and they all feel like they've been not only given a fair shake, but like nobody would ever know who they are. Right. So we're not out here being like heartless, crazy people. You know, we do our best to, you know, hold it a little tighter to the chest when need be.
Yeah. I had a situation with family where I was talking about family. My mom never decided to listen because all the girls in our Facebook group were talking about it. They were like saying stuff, and then she listened. So I had like a pretty rough go at that. But
Oh, really?
yeah, it was like, oh, my mom just got married. So I'll just whatever. My mom just got married to a guy named Phil, and he's like he reminds me of like Dirty John. He's creepy. And so I was talking about how creepy it was to like be at your mom with the situation, and she ended up hearing whatever.
Yeah. And was she upset?
Yeah.
It's hard to sort of
we
pick,
did that
like,
recently with you.
Yeah,
I feel
with
like
my parents.
Raina was just like, we joke about her mom, and Raina, like, we were talking about recognizing your family in heaven. Like, it got kind of deep with like a guy we had on this week, and Raina was like, yeah, I was like, Raina's going to big league her mom in heaven. She's just going to like see her mom and go over to my family. And like, I just don't think your mom would like to hear that.
Yo,
I mean, you have to say to
Feel
yourself,
that.
what is my story and what am I
Yep.
allowed to say and what's going to embarrass or hurt another person. And I talked to my parents a couple weeks ago and how they were married to other people before. And I don't think they were really in love with each other when they got married. They met at a time where they're like, okay, everybody else is getting married. Let's have kids. And my aunt called me and was like, I don't know if your parents would love that. And I was like, but that's my story to tell. That is how I feel about them. And I would say it to their face. And they're both married to other people now. They're not, my mom's been married to another person for 25 years.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine.
Yeah. It is kind of, I just don't want them to, I'm like, why does anyone close to me listen? You know what I mean?
Ever.
It's like, I want no one to like know me to listen. Because then it's like, you're safe, you're protected. Like if your family listens, it's just a little riskier. When you guys are dating, do you feel like, do you tell people right away? Or like, what's your process for letting people know that you do the show? And do they recognize it? Are they like, oh, fuck, like, what's that like?
I don't open with it at all. Yeah. I took my last name off my Hinge, like, I just don't.
How do you do that?
Just take it off. Just I can show you.
Because someone like I tried to do it.
I just removed my last name.
I'll have you do it before you leave because literally I don't know how to.
Well, I'll do it together. It'll be cathartic.
And like I didn't ever want a picture of me on a stage with a mic. Like I'm not going to ever lie, and I'm really not going to withhold information. I just don't want to open with it. I don't want people looking me up and listening to Googling me or listening to the podcast before we go on a first date. That's fucking crazy. Like it pretty much would come up on a first date if the date's going well. If we're hanging out longer than one drink, like I don't lie about what I do. I'm proud of it. So I can only beat around the bush so long. Like if I'm having conversations with guys on apps or even in the wild, I am really more low key, but I just am not a liar. And there comes a point where I'm like, I feel like I'm lying by just beating around the bush. So sometimes I'll say, I work in comedy. I don't even like saying I'm a stand-up comedian because then people get weird. And then they just are like, tell me a joke. Or like, it's just fucking stupid. And they're like, have I heard of you? Can I YouTube your clips? It's like, oh my God, you're blocked. Like I just don't.
That question, have I heard of you, is actually needs to be taken.
Have I
off the
heard of you?
roster
That's
question.
interesting. I've never seen that
Or
before.
like, have I seen you
Have
in
I
anything?
seen you something?
Yeah.
I was thinking, because I've just started like using apps again. The thing that sort of like worries me a little bit, and I've never really dealt with this, but it's like you go on a date with a guy, like our major listenership is in New York City. It's the biggest city in the United States anyways. It's going to be our largest listenership. So we go on a date with a guy, he goes back to his work, he tells a coworker, all of them listen. And then it's like you're on a date with the Girls Gotta Eat girl. And like, I don't know, I have 2 drinks. I say things that I'm not always super proud of. I don't know. So that's like a newer thing for me where I'm just like, well, what if they know a bunch of people listen to the show? And do I want people talking about me? I mean, I'm not Beyonce. Like nobody cares that much about me, but it's a threshold I'm going to have to think about at some point,
Well, that was what was interesting. I think it's like even sometimes less about the guy, it's the people like his coworkers. Like there was a guy, the guy she was dating over the summer, like his coworkers were fans. And once they started to realize who he was and that like they're not fans, they're girls that listen. So it's like, God, this sucks for him because now they're like listening and they like know like how he is in bed. You know what I mean? Which is just a weird thing.
I only said nice things actually about him in bed. I probably helped him get laid.
Dude, 100.
We say the bad stuff at the live shows. We say a lot of shit.
That was me.
I said twice, and we did an episode about breaking up with him. That episode's called "You're Not the One."
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of girls said that one was really good.
It's my favorite episode we've ever done. I listened to it last night when I went to sleep. The episodes where we're alone are always my favorite. And I just think that like, I love sharing stuff about our lives and mistakes we've made and the thought process. And here's how we can help other people. And I think we got hundreds of messages from girls that were just like, thank you for giving me insight or validating how I feel. And it's hard for me to walk away from this. And I feel empowered to do so. And that's like the greatest, it's so cheesy. It's like the greatest gift I could ever give another person is to just make them feel heard and validated.
We inspire a shit ton of breakups. Raina's being a little coy about it. We like, in a good way. Like if we're not out here telling people to break up with their happy, healthy relationship, their boyfriend, but like, a ton. Like every day. It's like I listened to this and I knew I had to break up with this guy and I broke up with him. We're just
There's
like,
nothing
oh my
better than
God.
inspiring a breakup.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Because
there's
you need
inspiring
to break
love,
up.
but there's also inspiring breakup, which is huge.
Like if you're in a great relationship, you are not inspired to break up with somebody because you heard a podcast. So
if you're asking if you should break up with them, you should.
you should.
Literally.
Right.
And so, and I didn't, are you, what's your relationship status?
So I'm single.
You are single.
I'm
okay.
single, dating.
We're changing her Hinge profile.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hinge. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, because a guy that I went on a date with the other week sent me something that, because I'm new to LinkedIn. And I didn't know.
It's not a dating app. It can be.
I didn't know that if you look at their profile, they
They
know.
can see. Oh my God. You want to hear
And he
something
was
funny?
like, I see you're stalking already. I
Oh,
was like,
yes, absolutely.
yes.
I went out with this guy this
100%.
summer. I looked at his LinkedIn. 20 minutes later, Ashley and I were at a restaurant. He texted me, "You're stalking my LinkedIn."
Yeah.
You've got to get your friend to do it. I have a friend that just is a recruiter. So if I really want to go, if I really want, I'll just have her look because she
I'm
is a
shameless.
recruiter.
I just own it.
Just do it. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Bitch, I want to see what you're doing, how much you're making. Like, that's normal.
Next to Glassdoor.
Absolutely.
An idea.
He was like, "I see you're stalking me." I'm like, "Bitch, of course.
Of course.
I gotta check these
I
stories."
don't want to die on this date.
Yes.
Who are you?
That's my number one talent is stalking. I know everything about you.
Which is so funny because it's like thinking about like for you, it's like, if I don't want them listening to me on a date, and I'd be the same, I'd be like, do not listen to me. But if I was them and I knew they had a podcast, I'd be like, all like before the date, I'd be like the day before, just like listening to everything that they put out.
Well, it's funny that you said that because I was dating this guy this summer and I liked him and he has a podcast and he was like, "You should listen to it." And I did not want to listen to it.
Yeah,
and
I wouldn't
literally
want to either.
texted him and was like,
It's really bad.
But I just also I literally wrote back to him in a text. I was like, "I like you, but what if I don't like your podcast?" Like I didn't want to get turned off by this bad podcast. That sounds so like snobby to say, but there's a lot of shitty podcast. I mean, him and his co-host drink and they just ramble. Like I just want to keep you on this pedestal of liking you and not hear your shitty podcast.
I mean, she also is like downplaying this. They just get like blacked out drunk and ramble about nonsense. So it's not like interesting or funny. You're not learning anything good about them. I listened to a couple episodes and I was like, why am I doing this?
Right.
Was he a gem otherwise?
Yeah.
He was great.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's probably not as bad as we are making out to be.
No,
I
it
just
is.
okay. I just don't.
But he is great.
I think it's this kind of thing we girls ask us sometimes, and I'm sure you guys have thoughts on this. And we've experienced this ourselves. Like I like the person and I hate their social media persona. I have girlfriends that I love and they are douchebags on social media.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like sometimes I'm like, how are we friends? Like you post crazy inspirational quotes and you do all these things that I make fun of, but I love you in real life.
I
couldn't
like that
do
about
it.
me. I like do douchey shit on Instagram, and I'm like, I'm cooler than this, but I keep doing it. It's like I keep like filtering it and like going to Ferris wheels and stuff.
What's the worst stuff you've written?
No, pictures, basic pictures. I'm talking, it's more captions.
I know.
It's just the captions.
We all do the basic.
The basic. It's just sometimes I look at my feed, I'm like, I don't feel like I'm like this, but I'm doing it and I'm in it,
Yeah.
My captions are fine.
Did you read the New York Mag article recently and the New Yorker article about
Tell me more. Someone told me about it. the other day.
Tavi, I forget her last name, but she was profiled in New York Magazine about how like she looks at her Instagram profile basically and she's like, I don't know who this is. Like, I don't know who I've created. And then the New Yorker picked it up and wrote this whole thing about like the getting real, to act like you're so authentic now is like a cool thing.
Yeah.
But it's like inauthentic because it's manufactured.
Yo.
And it's hard now, you know? But a lot of people I think look at their social media personas and they're like, this isn't me.
I think everybody that I know,
I don't
you
think-
know,
you live in
like,
LA. Yeah.
really is like, even like people that have huge, beautiful, whatever, I'm like, even that write beautiful captions or funny captions, whatever it is, they're like, because I just feel like I change every day. Like I'm different in a mood, I'm different in whatever. And so to look at my Instagram like a week before, I'm like, oh,
Who was that?
yeah, who was I?
You were only a girlfriend.
I was only a girlfriend and I was free. I'm just kidding. I was only a girlfriend. I was young. No,
On Friday.
yeah, on Friday. On Friday, I'm like, wow, she was so young then. I'm like, R.I.P.
Did you wake up with like a Tupperware pattern in China?
Literally. You in China. It just appeared.
These serving platters
vacuum all
in
of
the
a sudden.
kitchen.
I'm like, you again. We like never have sex again.
But now you have monogrammed luggage.
Now
so
I'm monogramming luggage.
Boner for that.
It's a thing. But the thing about Instagram is like, I think before I didn't really let myself evolve on it. And now I do. Like now I'm like, oh, that's fine if I was posting pictures of like bottles at clubs 3 years ago, and now I'm like, you know what I mean?
Mortifying to look back.
Mortifying.
Like, do you ever see like a Facebook status will pop up from like 2008 and you're like, I'm going to kill myself.
Stuff that you, the cryptic stuff you were posting for the boy that you liked when you were in college.
And before
Away
you
messages?
would do it in third person. Do you remember those days?
Yes.
I don't know if you guys
Give me an
do,
example.
Like it would, but there was a point. I'm really
it
going
would
to age
say
myself.
like Ashley
You're not
Hesseltine
dating
is whatever.
And it was like
You
written in
finish the
third person.
sentence.
It would say like Ashley is, and you would write like tired.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. You'd be like excited.
And be like thinking about you.
Right. I would do that shit and then just shut down my away for like 12 hours so that like the dude that I liked was like, fuck, what is she talking
You would
about?
like post song
Dude, that was
lyrics.
like the old school. You know how nowadays with the teeny boppers, the teen Instagram celebrities, they make them put like thinking about you, and it's like really about no one, but they want every single little girl on Instagram to think it's about them.
Yeah,
You were like
absolutely.
doing that before it was cool.
I just
Yeah. I was a piece of shit before it was cool.
No,
Yeah.
you're like making them wonder. You're like, is that about me?
Yeah.
It's a thirst trap. I mean, it just at the end of the day, it's a thirst trap. We talk about different kinds of thirst traps all the time. There's obviously the standard sexy thirst trap, but then there's that type of thirst trap, and then there's the sympathy thirst trap, which is a cryptic message of like going through a hard time and like no explanation. I cannot.
Terrible weekend, terrible reason to go out to LA, but you know, it turned out all right. It is crazy that people do
The
this.
sympathy thirst trap. I can't, because people just want, they want to be asked what happened. Oh my God. It's just.
Yeah, social media isn't it? And the evolution of it going from like away message, like AIM, having our screen names, like always talking to everyone, to Facebook, and now to Instagram. Do you guys like have trouble curating your stuff, or are you just like, this is me, fuck it?
Well, today something interesting happened. So I changed my Instagram handle today. So I was a food blogger for like years and years. And so my only Instagram was One Hungry Jew is what it was called. And I was doing that for ages, for years. And that's how I made my money. It was through like photography and all these brand deals and whatever, like a lot of people. But about a year ago, I stopped doing any kind of food photography because I was just like, the podcast is full time. We're traveling. That's my full time thing. So I just stopped posting food photos, which I did a post about it. I was like, all right, guys, I'm just not going to do this anymore, whatever. I didn't lose any followers. Today, I changed my Instagram handle to just Raina Greenberg. And I wrote I'll miss One Hungry Jew. I'll miss her. She was great.
Someone snatched it
I've
up.
lost thousands of followers.
Oh,
Wait, what?
Yep.
What are you talking
I
about?
lost 2,000 followers today already since this morning.
You didn't even tell me this. You guys, sorry, we're having a moment. What are you talking about?
Yep. All these people just unfollowed me. It's like they just realized it's not a food account anymore a year later.
Wait, that is
so
very
crazy?
bizarre, because on January 1st of 2019, Raina did a full post of like, this basically is not food anymore. And you didn't lose followers,
Not one
and your
follower.
engagement went up. That's wild.
My ex-boyfriend texted me this morning. Was like, "You're gonna lose followers," and I was like, "You're stupid. You don't know
I
anything."
would never think that. I would think you would
You just
gain.
changed the name.
Yeah,
you
changed the name.
you haven't done food. You haven't posted a food photo.
Isn't that crazy?
Crazy.
I know. So interesting.
They'll be back, honey. Sometimes it's like a
I don't care.
snapshot, You know what I mean?
It doesn't matter though.
Yeah,
I
who
mean, I don't
cares?
care.
It's not. I mean, whatever.
I'm so proud
I'm
of
just
what we've
surprised.
built. Yeah. I'm sorry we didn't talk about this ahead of time. I'm so proud of what we've built. So if I lose 10,000 followers, who gives a shit? I still have what we've built. I don't care.
Yeah.
Does anyone else feel like they just need to be taking care of themselves a little bit better around their period? Just me? No, I hear you out there. Okay, so around my period, sometimes I'm just like, let me just throw the towel in. Like, this blows. But then I found Rael. Rael came into Kristen and I's lives at a time when we're not stopping, y'all. We can't stop for our periods. You know what I mean? And so these products really gave us the confidence and the permission to just take ownership of that time and be in our bodies. For example, we do our facial masks. So Rael has these facial masks for every part of your cycle. Let me give you an example. So in your follicular phase, they have a mask for glow. So it's like a collagen mask. During the menstrual phase, they have a hydration mask because during menstruation, my skin gets dry, y'all. I don't know about you, but my skin gets dry. And then I get acne around my period. So they have these miracle patches for acne. And wow, overnight, heals my acne. It's for breakouts on the surface, diminishes blemishes in hours. They also have tampons, pads. They have feminine care wash. So in the shower, I use this because we have to make sure our pH levels are balanced in our vagina. So just FYI. So I trust them. For example, the organic cotton that they source does not have toxins, does not have pesticides, does not have synthetic chemicals. Thank you very much. So if you'd like to try Rael, we cannot recommend enough. This is a female founded and owned company. So proud to partner with women run businesses. Rael is at getrael.com, GETRAEL.com. You can use our code almost30 for 20% off your first purchase. That's getrael.com. Use code almost30 for 20% off. And might I mention, Rael Period Care is available at all Target stores nationwide. I will repeat, all Target stores nationwide carry Rael Period Care. I feel like the holidays can be a time of year where we're not getting enough sleep because there's a lot of pressure, just a lot. Can I say that? And everyone nod their head. Yeah, it's a lot, but sleep is super important. But around the holidays, and it can get hard, but it's even more important because we need to give so much more. Does holiday stress keep you up at night? You know what I mean? Like, are you one of those people that you have so many gifts to buy, meals to cook, family to entertain, and you just want to put an end to your racing thoughts? Well, we got you, and we found Calm, and it has truly helped us sleep at night. This is the #1 sleep app for sleep and relaxation. So they have sleep stories, which are bedtime stories for adults that can help you fall into a really deep, natural sleep in minutes. Honestly, it's minutes for me. I'm like, done. And the stories are narrated by just these incredible voices. They also have guided meditations, breathing exercises, and so much more. So join the over 60 million people on Calm today. 60 million people, you are not alone. So for a limited time, our show listeners can get 25% off a Calm premium subscription at calm.com/almost30. That's calm.com/almost30 to get 25% off a Calm premium subscription. Happy holidays, sleep well.
Yeah, I guess I want to talk about that because I think, and it's the evolution thing that I kind of touched on with Instagram. Like, you guys have both had different careers and lives. You've blogged as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is that? Have you guys always been excited to evolve, or have you been resistant in the past?
Oh, I think excited, but like it's necessary. So in my career past trajectory, whatever, was writing, freelance writing, to blogging, to Instagram, to podcast. So I do like to speak on this because I just feel like I did it right. That's the way, that's just me. That's just how my mind works. It's just like, this isn't going to last forever. It's kind of, I don't want to say it's pessimistic. I think it's just realistic. It's just like, there was a point where I was making a ton of money in blogging and I was doing really well. And like, literally my ad network shut down one day. It was $1 billion company 2 years prior. It was just like a crazy thing. And luckily I'd already started this big Instagram account. I'd have Bros Being Basic was my big account that's almost at 1 million followers, and where I've worked on that before we started the podcast. And I mean, I'd always been doing other stuff. I mean, I've been doing stand-up for 6 years, but like those are kind of the cornerstones of what I was doing. It was like blogging, Instagram, podcast, which I just think people should always think like that. I think they should always think of like what's next, and because it just doesn't last forever. And you see people get wrapped up in like the Instagram influencing thing, and I'm just like, you got to know that like you're not going to get brand deals from Sugar Bear hair vitamins forever, right? Like you got to know and like I think we love Caitlin Bristow as an example of like someone that came right off The Bachelor in that world and could have just turned into like just an Instagram person. And she told us her story. Actually, she had this great friend that works. I forget who she works for.
Scooter Braun?
Somebody. So she works with big time celebrities and was just like, you cannot do this. We're going to start you a podcast. We're going to get you build you a brand. And, she's been great. And, we saw what we don't love the Fat Jew as a person, but we admire what he's done with the alcohol. And we want to develop product lines of some sort sometime. Like, I think there was a great article that he wrote a couple years back, or it was about him, or he wrote it of like, you've got to do something else. whatever it is. So I think it constantly be evolving. You can't be resistant to it. Like people want to complain about the algorithm and Instagram. It's like, I don't know, mine hasn't changed for me. Maybe your content sucks. Like that's a real like brutal thing to say. But with Bros Being Basic, I noticed that the pictures were not doing well because it used to be an account of just pictures and funny captions. And I was like, the account is losing followers every day. The pictures are not doing well. They just have to be memes. People want memes. That's all they want. They want a package joke. They're more shareable. So now it's the same thing, but they're memes. And the count like rose immediately. It was in the red every day. It was just people, it was losing followers. No one was liking it. And I just kind of pivoted because I knew what people wanted. So you can stay and doing what you're doing and be pissed about algorithms and be resistant to change, but you're not going to get anywhere with that.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why like I'm so proud of what we do is like when we started the podcast a year and a half ago, there was about 500,000 active podcasts on iTunes. And now today there's 800,000. And so it's becoming this crazy saturated market. And so every single day, literally, we're like, how do we make this better? How do we improve this? Every day we walk, we've done almost 50 live shows. Our 50th will be in like a couple weeks. We walk off stage and we're like, this worked. This didn't work. Let's change this. Let's add this. Like we're always trying to move it forward. And I think that like, yeah, stuff gets saturated and stale and you got to keep like moving it forward, you know? And so like when we get off stage and like one of us is like, I hated this. We're not doing this anymore. Like we don't take it personal. It's just, it's got to go.
Yeah,
for sure.
And what about your partnership? Like, has it been super easy and collaborative from the get-go, or have there been little hiccups? And how do you just like maintain the relationship? Because, you know, you do have a friendship as well as a business partnership.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you guys experience the same thing, but I mean, it's not easy working with the same person all day, every day, traveling so much and whatever. I think at the end of the day, like we really love and respect each other. And so like, we know that like, if we disagree, it is for the benefit of the podcast, like, and the business. And if she does something I don't like or vice versa, we are pretty vocal with each other, even if it means we're gonna have an argument or a fight about it. And I don't know, I mean, you can give your own experience with it, but like, I feel really proud about our business partnership because I think we both work really hard and we complement each other really well. Like she's really good at stuff that I'm not good at and vice versa. And I think if we were the exact same person, it wouldn't benefit anybody, you know?
But I think we luckily had the same goals for the brand and for the podcast. Because if we didn't, like, it just wouldn't work. Because we disagree on like very minor stuff, like really dumb stuff, like whole big picture. We just don't disagree at all. And I mean, in all honesty, if we did, it just wouldn't work. Like if I felt like this thing that, you know, I wanted to start and you just had a totally different vision for it, I'd be like, we should probably just part ways. How are we going to do this? This isn't like we always say that what if Raina's dream and goal was to like have a reality show on Bravo? I would be like, this is never going to work. Like we just don't want the same things.
Right. Or if like, I mean, we talk about it a lot. Like we started live shows exactly 1 year ago. Like, what if I couldn't walk on a stage? Like, what if I just refused to do it? Because Ashley has tons of experience doing like performing on stage. I have never done it in my whole life. So, I mean, what if I just said no? Like a lot of people would have, you know?
Right. So, I mean, yeah. So I think we just have, by the grace of God or whatever you believe in, we didn't know each other that well and it worked out. Like I just don't, if someone came to me and they were like, you guys you'd work so well together and me and my partner just have totally different visions for this business, I wouldn't be able to offer any advice. You know, I could like only to a certain extent, but my end advice might be like, you might break up. Like any relationship. So
yeah, that's with us too. Like people will ask about that. And I feel like ours is a lot luck. It's a lot of us working at it and being really open and having the same vision like you guys. But it also is really lucky of what she's good at and what I'm not. So how do you guys separate your responsibilities? Like what do you guys do for that? Or do you guys
there's been sort of like a natural division.
Yeah.
Ashley's like such a perfectionist. I'm not. Like she catches a lot of Ashley edits the show. Like I don't think that I'd be that good at it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just think that like there's certain things we're both good at. We divide and conquer a lot. We both have just like a running giant to-do list, like with all the people that work with us and for us. Like you'll hear from one of us at some point. And
yeah.
I think we're also really good at having conversations offline, just the two of us, before we present a united front to somebody else. And I like that a lot. Like we're not arguing in front of other people, which I really like.
I've been the person my whole life that like does the most work in the group project. You know what I mean? Like that's always me. I'm just going to not get an A. So it's if people are slacking, I have to pick up the slack. And so I think my biggest fear always going into business with anybody is they're just going to be a slacker and they're just going to know that I'm going to do it. So they're just going to not do the work. And so that has been like such a blessing. I mean, I'm not going to say. I mean, I kind of started another kind of thing a couple years back with a guy friend of mine and soon realized that like, oh, he's just not going to work. And he's great and we're still friends, but you realize that soon enough. And so I am like super type A. I'm kind of more controlling than Raina. I'm a super perfectionist. And, I think in some instances, Raina will just defer to me because she doesn't care as much because she's not as like a control freak, but she also just like works really hard. Like I don't know. That's another thing. If someone were to ask me, like, my business partner is a fucking lazy piece of shit, I'd be like, find me a business partner. I don't know what to tell you. So, I mean, it's felt pretty organic. Like Raina will like go through and clear hundreds of DMs. And that's just like one of her job responsibilities.
I love that.
But I think I never told her to do that. She never, just like, there's other things I do. Again, I edit the show every week. I spend hours on it. It's just, I do the more technical stuff. There's these things that we just have fallen into naturally. And it's been great. I'm sure you guys have felt like similarly.
Yeah. And there's been, I mean, of course, it's not that we don't argue. And there's definitely times if like she feels overwhelmed and she's like, I need help. You're not doing as much. And if she tells me that, like, I don't feel like this is a person who's lazy that's yelling at me. And there's definitely been times I had food poisoning before our biggest show last year. Ashley had to pick up the slack on 2 of the biggest shows we've ever done. I couldn't do anything. I was moving in February. My life was a nightmare. I just like had to get approval from the condo board and all this shit. And like, I was a disaster. We had all these shows. And, there's definitely times where like one of us steps in. And we're not mad at the other person for it long term.
And I think girls are so good intuitively at like kind of picking up on those things and being empathetic and sympathetic in those situations and knowing that the other needs support. And, it's just, I think female partnerships are really interesting in that way.
It's so true. Like the amount of times that Raina said to me, or we've said to each other, like, you have this thing going on, I'll do the stuff. Like I moved recently too. And it was just, my move wasn't as stressful as Raina's, but she was just like, I know you're moving. Like, I'm going to take care of this. Like, I'm going to do 100% of the things that need done today. It's not a 50-50 thing. And that is, I think, very heavily a woman thing.
You mentioned before that you got a tarot reading. I forget what it was for, but I'd love to talk about like the role that spirituality plays in all of this, like whether some of it's experimental or trend-based or something that you've been doing for a long time and you still do it. Obviously, we're in LA. We take part and really believe. And it's been kind of like a cornerstone of not only Almost 30, but just like in the way we are humans navigating this and able to like metabolize the bigness of what's happening.
Yeah.
So I'd love to know more.
That experience for me, and Raina can speak on her religious, spiritual background. Neither of us identify as religious.
Not anymore. She changed her name.
On Yom Kippur, actually. A bunch of people let me know.
No longer a hungry Jew.
Today's the most holy day of the Jewish calendar.
No.
People,
Did you know that? She said they were all 2,000 of them. They're like, see ya. Insensitive.
So funny. It was all the Jews.
It was an accident.
Literally, they're like,
I didn't know it was going to happen today. I emailed my friend at Instagram and I didn't know that anyways. Actually,
they do it when you least expect it.
Wait, that is very funny that people were like, nope, forget it. We thought she's not a proud Jew.
She left us.
Made a big statement. Anyways, you could take this because it's an interesting story.
Well, yeah, I mean, as far as religion and spirituality goes, I grew up going to church, Methodist, Christian. My parents were never like super hardcore. They're super liberal and awesome and open. Now they are Unitarian. So they kind of just realize like religion's bullshit. It shouldn't be this exclusive and who knows what's real. And so they kind of helped start this Unitarian Universalism church in their community. And they're just really big on it. And like, I love the stuff they do. They just had like a blessing of the animals ceremony and like they just do all this really cool stuff and it's just more about being a community and knowing there's a higher power but no one really knowing what it is. They actually rent space out of a Jewish synagogue. Like there's just whatever. I have a lot of thoughts on religion I'm not going to get into, but as far as spirituality, I obviously think I just live my life on like this whole karma, for lack of a better word. Like I just be a good person. Like whatever you do is going to come back to you. Like every single time I do something I think is like even a little bit bad, I'm like, well, that'll come back somehow. And I think, and vice versa, when you do something good, like I just think you can't get away with being a shitty, selfish person and like it just comes back to you. Not that I'm dying to do shitty things.
And don't pick it up. And I'm like, fuck,
I can't lie. Like it's this whole thing. Like I remember I like kind of ended this thing with this guy in Miami and I left and I felt like an asshole because I kind of left I just lied to get out of an uncomfortable situation. And I was like, I never lie. I hate this, but I just need to get out of this situation because I didn't want to hurt this guy. Whatever. It's a long story. And then I left my phone charger there and I'm like, that was the karma.
Yeah, 100. I completely.
And I had to go buy one. But the tarot reading was a friend of mine. We've had her on the podcast. She's a great friend of mine and like life coach all around. She is a medium. She can talk to dead people. She does tarot. She's killing it. She's writing a book. Her name's Kelly Knight. Her shop in Atlanta and her whole brand is called Modern Mystics. There's a Modern Mystic Tarot. There's a Modern Mystic shop. She doesn't do readings much anymore because she just did them forever and she tapped out and she does all this other stuff. But to me, tarot, I think, is like just leads you into knowing what you really want. And also, I just think she is like psychic and knows everything. So when we did this tarot reading, I like love to share this because we did relationship stuff too that was spot fucking on. I was in a really dark place with my ex and everything she said was so spot on. It was like wild. And she was like, this is how he feels about you, but this is how he feels about this other person and blah, blah. I mean, whatever. It worked out how it worked out. I was not meant to be with him anyway, but
It worked out how it worked out. He's dead.
It worked out for him. Yeah. He's engaged to the other person. It worked out for him great.
Wow.
And Braden and I are killing it. So she put out every single thing in my career on on a card because I had a bunch of stuff going on. I had the Bros Being Basic stuff. I had my stand-up. I had a merch store. I had this idea for a podcast. I had an idea for a book. We just like laid it out and she just went through it and everything was right. It was crazy. She was like, the merch store is going to fall by the wayside. She was like, you're going to perform and you're going to be touring, but it's not going to be total straight stand-up, which is wild. And then she was like, the podcast is the thing. I can feel it. I know it for sure. I know that you know it. And she's like, and this was in June. I didn't meet Raina for 5 more months, or 4 more months. So she was like, that's the thing. I see you touring. I see you on a stage. I see you doing all these things. But again, it's not with your just stand up there and telling jokes alone. And I know that's not what you want anyway. And she was like, Bros Being Basic, you'll have it. You'll make money from it. Someone will probably eventually take it over. Like, it was just the most I still have a voice recording of it. It was wild. And I think she's a special person. I think she literally is psychic and can know these things. But I think in general, tarot, and Rain and I love tarot for the reason of that. It helps you figure out what you can do, and tarot readers can kind of guide you more than like a therapist can, because therapists can be such bullshit and they can't tell you what to do, and you can be sitting there telling them about the most toxic relationship in your life and they can't tell you to break it off. Like, it's just legally or whatever. But that, to me, I think all that stuff, I believe in like the universe and what you put out there comes back in, and The Secret and all that kind of stuff, and just being like a good person, not because you think you're going to go to hell. So that was very long-winded. I'm very sorry. But anyway, that's my full story.
I agree. And I love Kelly, her friend Kelly. And I think that tarot, one way that she approaches tarot that I like a lot is that she says, you don't have to believe this. Take it with a grain of salt. If this helps to guide you in a certain way or give you peace or calmness in a certain aspect of your life, then great. And if not, then listen and we'll talk. And you don't have to take anything I said for face value. But I really enjoyed speaking to her friend Kelly a lot. And I've done tarot readings, mixed feelings about it. I'm not religious at all, but her and I also feel very much like we really want to support other people and pay it forward. So we really go out of our way to make sure that like anybody who comes on our show, we promote their comedy shows, their podcasts, and their live shows. And we're always trying to like put that on our Instagram stories and like share the wealth with others. And that's something that like I really took from Nikki Glazer. You guys are doing her show, or she's doing your show tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And when she came on our show, I didn't know her at the time. And she like promoted the shit out of us and was like, these girls are brilliant and amazing. And I was like, oh my God, this is such a famous, successful person that wants to support others. And she doesn't feel like it makes her less famous and successful to rise other people up. Like what they say, like a high tide rises all boats.
All ships.
All ships.
Yeah.
Never heard that.
Yeah.
I heard it on, it's a Southern thing.
Yeah. It's on my chest. It's on my back.
Yeah, it's like my rib cage.
right by my
lower back.
Yeah. But especially because a lot of people on our show are comedians, we really go out of our way to promote their albums, their live shows, their podcasts. And I think that that's a very important thing to do just for other people. So I feel like, I check the karma box when I do that. And it's just nice to support others, because I think it comes back around to us.
I don't think you get anywhere not doing it. I mean, I guess, I don't know. I think that people that support others are going to always have more success. I'm sure you could find case studies of people that have just been total dicks and are famous now, but I think they like cry themselves to sleep every night.
I think
I don't think they're happy.
honestly, I think now you can't really get away with it. Like you have to support one another in a really genuine way or you're going to get found out, like in our industry because of social media. You know what I mean? Everyone will be like, yo, they're kind of shitty to work with. Like they're not really cool.
Absolutely.
Like, you kind of find out.
We read this thing the other day. We're actually interviewing him right after this. His name is Andrew Scholes. He's a comedian that we love.
Oh yeah. He's been on a lot of shows lately.
He's great.
Yeah.
And he did this
Love
Instagram
him.
post and it said like,
it doesn't have to be lonely at the top.
It should be surrounded by people that helped you get there. And I really I feel very moved by that sentiment. And I think actually the greatest thing about our podcast, other than what we've done for other people, is that this podcast has strengthened my relationship with my parents, my brother, my sister-in-law, my whole family, all my friends. It's been a beautiful way to reconnect with people around the country that maybe Ashley and I lost touch with. We have reconnected with family members we haven't seen in years, friends from college, high school. And it's been such a gift for me to be able to share that with other people. And so, yeah, it should never be lonely. You should always be paying it forward and including people and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's really important.
How has it helped you connect with them if they're not listening?
So people that listen, but also we do shows all over the country. So we were in Portland and I saw a girlfriend I hadn't seen in 5 or 6 years who went to law school there and stayed there. And so there would be no reason for me to go to Portland. I mean, it's a great city, but I wouldn't have gone there for no reason. So we've reconnected with a lot of people, which has been really cool.
Like college girlfriends, and also just your family gets together to come out and support you. We just did a show in Raina's hometown of Pittsburgh and all her friends and family came. Why else would they all be getting together randomly?
Yeah.
If that doesn't have to do with the holidays or something like that. So I don't know, just stuff like that. Are you guys, what's your guys' spirituality? Are you just
really
spiritual?
staunchly religious? No,
Very Catholic.
You're a wife?
Very Catholic. I grew up in the Midwest. So I grew up in Ohio and everyone was very Catholic.
What part?
Cincinnati.
We love Ohio.
Man, you guys are going to Cleveland.
We just did.
Oh, yeah. How was it?
We didn't go to Cincinnati. We went to Columbus and Cleveland.
And Cleveland was good, right?
Loved it.
A blast.
I have this Ohio shirt. I wear it all the time. We loved it.
Oh, it's the best.
It was you're really flexing in the Pittsburgh
It's
airport
a dream.
with your Ohio shirt on, aren't you?
It's true. Yeah, the Steelers, baby. I didn't want to say it, but So I grew up in Ohio, very Catholic, but now I'm just spiritual. And she's the same. In LA, that's kind of you're just spiritual.
Yeah.
But it has played a really impactful role in my life and my relationship and with you too. And it's been really beautiful to see it now today, in our podcast and the growth of our community and everything like that. I want to talk about your, if you guys do have boundaries with social media and stuff and how you guys manage and take feedback.
What kind of boundaries do you mean?
With I guess with
Trolls. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, well, responding to people with long messages, people that say stuff to you. What is your
Depends which one of us you get on the DM.
selfish. Literally.
It depends on. Her and I have different feelings about it. I think that we react similarly. But if somebody puts us on blast and they write something shitty or horrible on an Instagram feed post, then fine, it's open season on you. You can't sorry. But a private DM or a private email, I don't necessarily always respond, but I don't hate it as much if somebody says hey, I'm a fan of the show and I love you girls. This bothered me or upset me. I don't necessarily have to respond to all those because one sentence I say out of 85 episodes shouldn't offend you that much.
And grow up.
Right.
It's comedy. I cannot. If people are self-centered, they think it's all about them. I was triggered by this one thing because of my own life. Shut the fuck up. Have you ever watched a comedy special or been to a comedy show? What is your life? Don't DM us. I was offended. It's literally, you went to the comedy section of the podcast and you chose this.
Right.
What are you doing?
Why do dudes get away with it more than girls?
Don't even get us started.
We talk about this all the
I'm
time.
thinking about the male comedians
on today.
Yeah.
Really get us started with the stuff that men get away with that women could never.
The stuff that he says is it makes me, I'm
It's wild.
yeah.
Or we
He's funny as hell, but I'm
we have a lot of guys on our show, Chris DiStefano is another comedian that's also from.
They can get away with
him all
something
the time. If I said that, I would be on the
Burned
most
at the
hit
stake.
list. My agent would drop me, my manager,
Totally.
everybody.
Whatever. It's the 5% of people that are yelling the loudest. It's not the majority. We did this thing where we had this joke on our podcast about miscarriages. It was Joe. We had a great comedian on. He was joking around with Raina, and it was not. we got some DMs about it. And then the next week, I just felt the need to do a PSA like, hey guys, we don't think miscarriages are funny or anything, but we make jokes because this is comedy and like whatever. And the overwhelming response was, thank you for saying that. People are too offended. But of course, we got a couple DMs, but it's not the majority. And I think it's just the people that have too much time on their hands. And I think also people don't understand comedy. Like I wasn't going to comedy shows in my early 20s. And so I think if you grew up in this more woke generation and you just don't really understand, I think you might be more easily offended. This sounds so, I hate to sound so condescending, but you actually don't understand that these are jokes, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's something we want to talk with Andrew Schulz about today, because he's like the king of like, fuck this cancel culture. This is ruining comedy. Like this is just, it's comedy.
And we try to make it clear also, everything we say, we're just talking about ourselves. Ashley doesn't want to have kids. Ashley's not telling other people to not have kids. She's saying, this is my life and my choice and my body. This is my decision. I think it's stupid. It's not stupid for you. Like I honestly have mixed feelings about marriage and weddings and spending that kind of money. If that's your dream, live your dream, but it's not my fucking dream.
Well, and I think as far as like the don't feed the trolls, like I try so hard. Like if you write something nasty to me on my own Instagram, like I'm still at the point where there's not so many that I still read the comments, but like I'll delete it. I don't need this kind of negativity, or I'll clap back and I'll get a bunch of likes because I feel like it. Like this girl the other night wrote on my post, so unnecessary that like I should not have a middle part. Like I should try it. Like I've picture with two girlfriends and my two girlfriends had like clear, really deep side parts. And she was like, Ashley, maybe you should take the tip from your friends and like not wear the middle part. And I wrote back something like, I just wrote, I'm good and no one asked. And it got like, it got 100 likes. And I'll do it just to show you that like you look like an asshole. And she did delete it eventually later in the night. But I usually am just like, if it's something really mean, like some man typically that's just jealous, or somebody that is an actual troll with 0 posts, like sometimes I'll click on that. I'm like, oh, you have 0 posts. You're just on Instagram to troll people. I'll just delete it because it's my own page.
Yep. It hasn't happened in a really long time for us, I think. I can't even recall the last time somebody DM'd us and said like this bothered me. Because I think we've made it very clear. Like we try to be a friend to all women. We want to uplift everybody and empower everybody. If you don't like the show, don't listen. That's it. It's your own prerogative to turn on our show or not turn it on. And we love our community. We read our DMs and respond to all of our DMs. We sit around crying all day long about our emails and our DMs. And we love the people who listen to the show. And we don't ever want to make anybody feel personally attacked. But if you feel personally attacked, you should ask yourself why you take this so personal. Because it's not personal.
And if you hate the show, like people will just go, I mean, I don't read the iTunes reviews. I would never. I'm done. I did that at the beginning. I'm done. But like people will just talk about how much they like hate me specifically or Raina. And it's like, then don't listen.
Right.
Of course. And I'm not for everybody, and neither are you guys or anybody in this room. So it's like, I just don't understand it. Like you can't stand the voice or the stance or the tone of one half of the podcast, then literally just don't listen to it.
The fact that they took more time to write that review than to look for another podcast is very interesting.
Right. I mean, there's a billion two-female podcasts like yours that they could listen to instead.
Never heard
there are? Yeah, completely. That's inspiring to us.
But
Thank you.
At the end of the day, like I love our audience more than anything. It's just these few people that are so self-centered that think that we're like catering to them personally in some way. It's a bizarre way to think, and I think it's just immature.
Yeah, that's not even. I mean, I'm so amazed that it's okay for us. It's been like you've made a joke about. I made a joke about Asians having small penises. Whatever. If it's about
the new meme going around is like that skinny guys have the biggest dicks.
I fucked this skinny guy all summer. He had
we
a nice
both did.
dick.
Guys, they were
Great
so
dick.
they were really
true.
so tall, especially like, and
We need to have a doctor on to
guys
talk
have
about
huge
this.
dongers. Like they just are like swinging back and forth.
Completely agree.
like when
Third
did
life.
you guys ever do the man filter, the Snapchat? Obviously,
Yes.
I
everybody
look
did it.
just like my brother. It's crazy.
One of my gay guy friends was like, "You look like a 6'4" dude with a huge dick." Like he was like, "You look like a tall, skinny guy with a big dick." Like, they all do.
But what I was going to say is, yes, we try to not make jokes about religion, race, ethnicity, sex. gender, things like that. And I've had a couple hard lessons where people have messaged and said, you said this thing and it's really not that funny. And I've had to say to myself, okay, maybe there are some things that are funny amongst my girlfriends, between me and Ashley privately. And I shouldn't, because I have a voice now and I do have an audience. So yeah, there's some jokes I know that I can't make on the show. And I'm fine with that. I don't feel like anybody's taking anything away from me. I think about what I say. And like, sometimes I don't even realize it. Like I made a joke that Auntie Anne's is the worst thing you can put in your body last week. And Auntie Anne's reached out to us this morning and was like, actually, we are really good for you. And we use whole wheat. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
No way.
You want a sponsor?
Listening. But the thing about the entitled millennials, just to speak to that, like that's like, it's insane that people get so offended. Like, I think that, it's like a white person that a black person is telling them like, hey, you have white privilege, and they freak out. Why don't you just reflect and think, maybe I do. And maybe this black person isn't overreacting because they've been oppressed. Maybe I should actually self-reflect and wonder if I do. And if I actually don't, then I shouldn't be offended by the statement. Like it is, people just, it blows my mind. It absolutely blows my mind that people get so offended and they're like, I'm not this thing you said I was. Then why are you offended?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe a little self-reflection would do you some good.
Totally.
Peace and love.
Okay, one of my guilty pleasures around the holiday times is finding gifts for people that they don't know they need, but once they have it, they're like, how did I live without this? And I found it. Comrade socks. These are compression socks. I'll tell you about why compression socks are essential in a moment, but these make insane stocking stuffers, great white elephant gifts. We get like normal socks in our stockings or as gifts all the time. And it's like, okay, got it. But compression socks, y'all, this is going to change your life. This is an effortless way to feel better and get more energized. Let me tell you why. Compression socks get the blood flowing. So oxygen, can I say that word? Oxygen can work on helping those muscles repair. Listen, circulation is the quickest way to get back on track. Getting really healthy blood flow to an area is the way to heal. So compression socks can, not only help your muscle soreness and cramping, this is also great for athletic performance. So for the athlete in your life, these high endurance activities put a lot of strain on your muscles. And as the workout progresses, tearing muscle fibers uses oxygen for fuel, and they leave little deposits of lactic acid in their path. So this buildup of lactic acid, that post-workout pain, so well, this can improve by using compression socks. So that increases circulation, increases that blood flow, and keeps that lactic acid from settling in and causing discomfort. It also helps reduce swelling, edema, decreases risk of blood clot and deep vein thrombosis. My mom has a lot of spider veins. She really loves using compression socks on a daily basis. It's really helped her pain as well. So if you're interested, y'all, this is a great gift for the holidays. Trust me. And they're cute to boot. These are stylish. They're not weird. They're not for I don't know. You see them in the drugstore. These are so dang cute. Go to comradesocks.com/almost30 and use the code almost30 for 20% off your first order. That's COMRAD socks.com/almost30 and then use the code almost30 for 20% off your first order. Is there something interfering with your happiness or is preventing you from achieving your goals? I've been there. I've been there many times, and Krista and I have been transparent about those moments and experiences in our lives. And I've had friends recently express this to me, and I feel so, grateful that they're able to open up. And I recommended BetterHelp. And these are people that are on the go and didn't necessarily want to go to a therapist. They didn't have the time, or they just didn't feel comfortable going in person and, sitting in waiting rooms and all of that. And so BetterHelp was a great option for them. And this is an online platform that will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist that you can start communicating with in under 24 hours. This is, a resource. They have a broad range of counselors in their network. And that's really great because in some areas, specific types of counselors are not available. So this really provides a broad range for you. And the service is available for clients worldwide. wide, which is awesome. And just a note, this is not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It is professional counseling done securely online. You get timely and thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions so you don't ever have to sit in that waiting room or anything like that. And they are committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, so they make it easy and free to change counselors if needed. This is also more affordable than offline counseling, and financial aid is available. So if you're interested, I highly recommend checking it out, learning more. BetterHelp.com/almost30. That's BetterHelp.com/almost30, and join the over 500,000 people taking charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional therapist. Get 10% off your first month at BetterHelp.com/almost30. 10% off your first month at BetterHelp.com/almost30.
I'd love to, last kind of topic for me, but I'd love to switch to sex.
Let's talk about sex. Yeah.
Just kind of like, especially like in our 30s, I feel like we know and feel our bodies in a different way. Like in my 20s, I was like reckless in the best way. And now I'm a bit more self-aware, which also makes sex interesting, And so I'd love to know kind of any stories recently, or any maybe rules you have for yourself as you navigate dating life. I've recently set up a no sex until we're exclusive rule for now.
Okay.
I don't know if that'll work, but I'm just kind of curious what's going on.
In terms of like when to have sex with somebody, that we did an episode really early on, and I love this like stance that we both take, which is like, do what you want. Like have sex with who you want, when you want, and you shouldn't, like we talk about this a lot, you shouldn't use sex as like a weapon, and withholding sex won't make somebody be your boyfriend, and having sex with somebody won't make them not be your boyfriend, and you should do whatever you're comfortable with. There's nothing wrong with waiting either. If you feel like you want to wait, like having that like build up and that excitement is great, and you should wait. And that's sort of my stance on it. I've had a one-night stand with somebody I ended up dating for years. So there's no rules. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that you learn in your 30s or like late 20s that we talk about all the time is like, there's no harm in waiting. I'm not talking like months and months. Like I'm, out here like being Christian or whatever. Like I'm just saying, like, no offense to the Christians, what I'm talking about. Like I'm not out here waiting till marriage.
Gotta say it.
Or like for religious reasons. Like it's not any sort of conservative, prudish thing. It's just like, what is the rush? And like we've had Tank Sinatra on this past week on our latest episode where he's like, the longer you wait, the hotter it's going to be. And I think one thing that the mistake I made in my 20s, and then we say this whenever we get the opportunity, is like, you do not have to have sex with someone. Like when you were younger, you just did because like, I'm here and what am I going to do? Like, I don't want to blow this guy, and hand jobs aren't cool, and we're laying next to each other and our clothes have come off. Go to bed or leave or dry hump or make out or get an Uber. Like you just don't have to have sex. And I think there's pressure that's, whatever, that's considered rape or assault, but there's also just feeling pressure that you're just there, and what else do I do? And you just don't have to. You can just leave. Like I think I didn't realize, and when Jared Freed is another guy that we love, come on, like it really opened my eyes on one of his podcasts where he was talking about going out with this girl, and they'd been on a few dates, and at the end of the dates they were having these hot and heavy makeouts, and he was like, this was great with me. Like, yeah, I don't want to be doing this 6 months down the road or even really 6 more dates down the road, but like this first few dates were hot and heavy, we're making out, I'm going home, I'm thinking about that, I'm turned on by it. Like you don't have to feel pressure to have sex like literally ever. And so I love that you've set this new rule for yourself. Nikki Glaser, you guys should talk with her about this. She has the same stance. Like she's like, unless I am like soaking wet down there and juiced up and want to fuck you, I'm not going to fuck you. Like make me want it. Because otherwise, what is the point?
Well, we've also had plenty of sex in our life. Like I've fucked a lot of guys a lot of times. And so I'm not like so hard up to get fucked. I mean, some days, I don't know. But like, I don't
speak for yourself.
Yeah. You want to fuck later? We'll fuck Andrew Schultz when we go to your apartment.
Oh, can't wait.
But yeah, I mean, I do what I want to do. If I'm feeling it and I'm excited and there's chemistry, I'll fuck you if I feel like it. But I also know if there's chemistry today, there will be chemistry 3 dates in also. There's just no, like, Tank Sinatra, I love what he said. He was like, you'll never get this time back.
Yep.
So like, just enjoy it for now. And I mean, I'll masturbate to a makeout session any day. That's so hot.
Yeah, like it's so crazy. I had this thing in LA when we were there doing our shows. I still think about it all the time. I had this build up with this guy all week, and then we like had this hot and heavy car makeout. It was a whole thing. I like think about it all the time. Like I don't know if that was actually the question you were asking us, but that's our stance now.
I want it more.
Oh, but you were asking about sex in our 30s.
Oh, well, you just know what you want. Your body and what gets you off. And I'm way more vocal, and I'll just tell, and like, it's not in a crazy dominatrix way, but I'll like talk more. And I mean, that's like the one thing that's changed for me the most is just like, I realized at some point along the line that I love dirty talk.
Me too.
Even if it's me and my, I'm the only one really doing it, and I'm only getting a little bit of response. But I just like, so now I'll do it night one. Like it's what I like. It's what gets me off. Well, why not do it? And you just become more confident.
I don't know what you guys think. I mean, you're a wife now, so you're not on the streets. But I feel like sex has gotten better. And I don't know if it's just because I'm better at asking, but I feel like because of so many podcasts normalizing sex today and so many things just out there in the world normalizing sex, that like men are so much more excited to go down on you, give you an orgasm, like make sure that you get yours also. And I mean, maybe it's because I wasn't asking for those things in my early 20s and I didn't know how to, but like guys weren't just like dying to give you an orgasm. I mean, they said that they were, but they weren't doing like the work to do it, you know? And I feel like every guy I sleep with, like every guy I've slept with this year has been like, I want to make sure you get up. I want to go down on you. Like I want to do things to make you feel good. And I feel like guys have gotten a little better.
I agree. And I think also with age, like I think back to like early 20s and guys that I was having sex with and like dating around. And it's like everything happened so quickly, meaning like they almost didn't want to spend too much time, even though they wanted the sex so bad, they didn't want to spend too much time doing it because there could be too much for us to reflect on. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just felt like it happened so fast. Like it was like, and you're like laying there like, oh my God, what is everything okay?
So unfair to me.
But you're like, I should like this, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I do think like as men get older, it gets a little bit more present and slower in a way, depending on what's going on with them. But
yeah,
I don't know. There's something to them being more mature and being more in tune with our needs. I think they just get hip to the fact that like they're really not going to get off completely if we're not turned on, because part of their turn on is us being turned on.
Yeah.
So if we're just kind of like laying there, you know,
and just a guy, I mean, there's probably, 35-year-old, 40-year-old men that don't care about pleasuring a woman. I mean, and then there's 26-year-old guys that we fuck this summer that no. I mean, it's just like,
really,
it's a personal thing. Like, I think that a guy at 24 or whatever age can be like, I want to learn how to please a woman. And so they start asking around, or they Google, or they figure it out. And then there's some men that have never had that thought in their life. So I think it can be a personal thing. Like there's some men that are roaming these streets, 37 years old, that don't know what to do with a woman and they don't care.
Yeah.
You know? Depends on how hot you are. You know, the guy. Depending on how the guy is.
Oh, yeah. How hard they have to work. That's true. Like, it's always just like never had to work that hard at anything. Like, it might not be the best in bed. Might not be a giver.
That guy. So that guy that's my neighbor.
Is he fine?
Is he what?
Is he fine?
He's fine. Yeah. And he's bad at sex. It just happened and it was over. I mean, it was just like, oh, you finished? Like, did I even need to be here? Or am I just like a cum dumpster for you? Like, can I say cum dumpster on your show?
Yeah, literally. Whenever they finish fast like that, they're always like, haha. Like, it's kind of like laughing. You're like, what?
You're like a fuck boy. Is this over? This is so crazy. This is over.
Yeah. And like, what? Dead silent.
Dead silent.
No
and, like,
expression.
Just didn't like go down on me. No dirty talk. Like, he just like barreled inside of me. And like all the times we've had sex. And whatever. He's there. Okay. I just do it.
Yeah.
There. It's right down. The dick is right downstairs.
But he's hoping. He's a little older. Maybe. He's 42. So like, maybe. Or not that much older than me, just like 20 years.
He should know better.
Yeah. He should know better
at this.
No, not better at this.
But I think you're right. The access to information for guys now, if I think about like Gen Z, is like so much more fluid with things. So their understanding of women and our anatomy and like the fact that we deserve to be pleasured and we deserve to have orgasm too is like so much more there than we were young. Because I was thinking like I have so much compassion for like the girl when you're younger and you're just like, okay, what do we do now? Because you're like, you never think that you're like worth it to be like cool enough to like hang out with them or like stimulate them mentally. So you're like, okay, I guess here we are naked and like, what do we do?
Right. And you know, you put value in sex. And the whole fucked up thing.
Yeah.
And then we had an episode about porn where we're just like, porn is also fucking these guys up. So then it's like it goes both ways. It's like they have more access, but if they have access to porn, then they think that's what sex is, and that's not what sex is.
I know.
Like drama.
Because you guys had a director on, right?
Yeah, Ashley found her. She was great. She does like
Erica Lust is her name. Yeah,
like ethical porn. So they want to make sure that everybody's like treated well, and they don't do any themes of like rape, incest. I mean, if that's what people are into, that's fine. That's just not what she does.
Well, it's geared towards women.
Yeah, it's geared towards women.
The whole thing is like women centered.
Yeah.
What women like? She takes what women write in their fantasies and creates them into these like short films.
Wow.
It's very hot.
Yeah.
She has this website, X Confessions. You like read the stuff people send in. It's very masturbation worthy as well.
No way.
It's great.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
My last thing I want to talk about, you guys did some, like you guys talked about like toxic person breakup and like friendship breakups. I kind of want to get into that because a lot of girls within our community, they have that situation where they have a friend that they feel like is toxic, or they feel like maybe a girl from college or high school that they've been hanging out with, they maybe need to let go of, or maybe from work or something like that. What was like the advice that you guys gave for that?
We tried to divide it into two things. You know, have you drifted apart because you're in different lifestyles right now? You know, certainly in your 20s and into your early 30s, people become mothers and wives. And if you're not, you might feel just excluded from that community. And
You get it.
I literally get it.
Yeah,
no,
like,
I actually get it.
you're not
I'm
even
like,
friends with any
I'm
of us
triggered.
anymore. Yeah.
I'm triggered and I get it. Honestly, you're like, you get it. You're like, you get engaged and then like no one wants to fucking hang out with you. And you're like sitting in the corner and it's like kind of weird.
Ew, your life. Ew.
Honestly.
Are we going to have a live friendship breakup with you guys right now?
Honestly.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Go
Like,
ahead.
so what should we do later, guys?
I just have to like roast your engagement as much.
Please.
It's so fresh. So
It's too fresh. It's the only time you're getting made fun of for successfully closing this deal. Like, ew, you're so stupid. And then the other, you know, we broke down as, you know, is this just somebody that is a toxic force in your life? You know, when they text you, do you feel stressed out? When you're out with them, do you feel uncomfortable and anxious? Is it always just like a situation you don't want to be in? And I think the hardest thing is when that person is involved in your friend group and you're like, I have to see this person all the time. And we talked about it a lot. And we talked about like when we've sort of broken up with people. And I mean, how I've done it in the past is just to be really honest. Here's my boundaries. Here's the barriers that I have. Here's how you cross them. And you can't be a part of my life and I wish you well. And I don't remember exactly like what else we said.
I mean, yeah, we did.
That's good.
We spent a deep dive on it. So there's obviously different ways of, I guess, going about it. But I think my main thing that I like to hammer home is like, you don't have to miss this person and you're not a bad person because you don't want them in your life. Because I had a friend break up with a friend that I'd been friends with for over a decade that like was like family. I was in her wedding and like, I mean, I don't need to tell the whole story. She basically like, she weirdly attacked me on social media, totally unprovoked, and then never apologized. And she insulted me and all these things. But I just was like, this relationship's over. And like, I'm not sad about it. And not a day goes by that I miss this person. And I've had friendship breakups, not a ton. I had one other one that I do kind of miss her. And if I write into her again, I think we could totally bury the hatchet. But this one, my thing that I hammered home in that episode was like, you're not a bad person because you don't want to be friends with your long-term friend. Or I think people get caught in this like, but we've been friends for so long. Who cares? Like, and that's not to say that time and having a history with somebody isn't important by any stretch. But if you really genuinely feel like this person is not serving you anymore, you can just break up. Friendships just run their course. And I have had friends, and that's coming from somebody that has had, my best friend is from high school. Like I value long-term friendships. I'm not this like person that people are disposable. I'm seeing my college girlfriends, we're still all close. Like I value long-term friendships, but I also think that there's a point where a friendship is not serving you anymore. It can run its course and you don't have to feel like a bad person because you don't care.
I totally agree. And I think that sometimes you can break up with somebody and come back together. Like I actually reconciled with a friend of mine this weekend.
Yeah.
And she's not a bad person. I don't hate her. She did some stuff. We had a falling out. I did not like her behavior. And she spent a lot of time thinking about the years, like 2 years I haven't talked to her. And she really made the effort. She reached out. She apologized to me. She said, I see what I did wrong. Can I see you? I'd love to see you. And I thought it was a great way to go about it. You know, she said, I'm sorry. I did this. And I am not a demon. I'm happy to listen to those things. And then you can evaluate. I think that we're always sort of putting together like a whiteboard of people's behavior, and like everything they do just goes on the board, you know? And it's like your behavior is just noted. And sometimes I put enough things on that board and I'm like, you can't be in my life. I've put together a profile. I've taken notes and like, you can't be here anymore. But like other people, they change and they evolve and you move on, you know?
And I think people, you know, maybe grew up differently and they were kind of raised, or they always had these ideals of like, you know, I'm going to get married in my early 20s, and then my best girlfriends will be my sorority sisters from college. And like, I don't really know otherwise, which is no fault of their own. Maybe it's their mom or their family or whatever. But I mean, I met Raina 2 years ago. Like, she's my like life partner. She's like family. She's like my best friend. Like, we met 2 years ago, like well into our 30s. Well, not well, but we're in our 30s. But my mom met one of her best friends after she was married with 2 children, like they were both teachers, like at their school. Like, I think that you just never stop making friends. So I think it's some women when they're young and they can't see past the fact that like my college friends aren't going to be my best friends forever. And they really still might be, but the best friends you make are like the ones that are in your same place in life when you're like a full blown adult.
Completely agree.
But like, if somebody is treating you like shit and making you feel upset, first step I would say is, what am I doing to provoke this? But if you genuinely feel like I have done nothing, then fuck that person. That person's not a part of your life anymore. And you shouldn't feel bad about that at all.
Yeah.
And if I always think like a good litmus test is like, am I a person that has maintained all of the other relationships in my life? Is this a person who has problems with other people in their life all the time? If that's the case, then like it probably is them and it probably isn't you.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing to ask yourself in these situations.
Yeah. Like, who's the common denominator here?
Yeah. I always think about that with like guy relationships and girls as friends. I'm like, okay, what are your friends' situation like?
Always. Like,
Not that you don't need to be best friends with everyone you went to grade school with and middle school and high school, but you need to have like a robust, rich friendship set of people that mean a lot to you, because that shows like your true colors.
yeah. Like somebody, and I mean, it's fun to like kind of sometimes get like rolled around in the mud and talk shit with somebody that is like a girl drama type of girl, but like if that's not going to be your close friend.
Yeah,
like,
no.
It's right when I first started vetting Raina to be my life partner. Like, I was just like, I'm meeting her friends.
You were testing her.
I was like listening to her talk about her friends.
Yo, 100%.
Let me just feel this girl out.
That's what
like,
I do
does she have
too.
long-term friendships? Is she friends with girls from college, from her 20s? Like, what's her family like? It's a huge red flag.
If I hear a girl, I've said I had it the other day. I had a friend who's like talking really poorly of like someone, like, and I just was like so bothered by it. I was like, oh, I don't really want to be around that. Absolutely. Like, I don't really want to hear that. I don't really want to be around that. And I don't want to be friends with someone that immediately, especially when you first meet them, if they're talking shit about people. No.
Look out for that, girl. Ashley and I have had some situations like that where we're like, why would a person that you don't really know that well walk into a room and immediately start talking shit on somebody else?
Completely.
And like, you should just always be, and I like that you said that too. And I say to people about Ashley, like, she has so many lifelong friends and I love that about her. And it does make me think like, okay, I can trust this person.
Yeah.
I mean, by the grace of God, our business relationship worked out, but that is a good litmus test.
Yeah.
And like, also like, look at what's happening in other people's lives. And we had a friend, this guy, and he had a falling out about a year ago with somebody else. And he was saying to me that the person he had the falling out with said to him, you always do this with people, and this is why you don't have all these close friends. And he's relaying this to me, and I told Ashley, and I was like, let's just take note of this. And sure enough, like, he did something really shitty to us not far down the road.
Way.
And I just think that like, if somebody says that there's a pattern, there's probably a pattern.
Yeah.
Like, when people tell you who they are, listen.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you're
that's a
not
good
usually
one.
the exception to the rule. Like, it's very rare that this person has done this other thing to all the other people in their life and they're not going to do it to you. They are 100% going to do it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not tomorrow, but they will. That's who they are.
Yeah. Just be careful. And that doesn't mean people can't change or grow up, but like, I totally agree. Like, yeah, my mom's been telling me that my whole life, and I'm bad at learning that lesson. Just view how other people are being treated by that person, and just protect yourself accordingly. And I think in my older ages now, I've gotten better at that. But I agree. Yeah, just take note. That's all.
Put it on your board. Like, your vision board is all shit on people. You're like, that one time.
And that's not to say that
You're like, wow, that's a beautiful vision board.
We love talking shit. I'm the pettiest person alive, but I'm just not doing it with strangers or
Of
people that I'm
course
casually
not.
acquainted with.
Yeah.
Of course not.
You should know who you can trust.
Because then it's like unprovoked. Like, I need to, if I'm saying something about someone, it's provoked by something, a situation that I need to like express and get it off my chest. If it's like a stranger, it's like, what's provoking that? You're just like a mean person and you want that to be how we get along.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's how people bond. I mean, they don't have a lot of other content in their life. So
Exactly.
It's a thing. It's like, oh, you don't really have much else going on besides this petty drama. So that's where you have to discuss.
Yeah.
Get some better content.
Get some better content.
Talk about us.
Literally,
Talk about our podcast.
Literally.
Yeah.
Where can our lovely community connect with you? Tell us about, when's like tour starting November?
We should still,
You guys be in Chicago?
When's this come out?
November.
So I mean, we do have shows. At this point, probably the only one there's tickets left for is New Orleans.
Cool.
So if you guys have an inkling to go to New Orleans, Chicago was unfortunately sold out.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
our New York shows.
St. Louis that week also.
Yeah.
Also sold out.
But New Orleans, and then we'll start again in 2020.
NOLA, baby.
And
Perfect.
Huh?
Said NOLA, baby.
I know.
Yeah. But yeah, this is out in November. So I don't know if we have tickets still available, but the Wilbur in Boston and the Lincoln Theater in DC in January. And then hopefully some California stuff in February in LA.
Can't wait.
That's the plan. And that, I don't know. It's hard to, in a couple weeks, we may have that ready to go, but that's the plan to come to the West Coast in February.
Perfect. We'll put it in our show notes and stuff too.
And just Girls Gotta Eat podcast on Instagram. I'm Ash Hess on Instagram. Raina is Raina.Greenberg as of today. And girlsgottaeatpodcast.com for
Perfect.
all of our stuff.
All right. Thank you so much.
This is great. Thank you.
Bye, guys. We'll see you next time.
Thanks so much to Ashley and Raina. You can listen to their podcast everywhere you can listen to podcasts. It's called Girls Gotta Eat. And we can't wait to see you at our live show December 7th in LA. Special guest is Shan Boudrum. She is the author of The Game of Desire. She's a sexologist. It's going to be juicy juice. And we have a special surprise for y'all.
Yeah, the special surprise makes me feel really good about life.
Yeah.
I'm fucking pumped about it. We've gotten a lot of signs about it this week, which has been amazing. So almost30podcast.com/tour for those tickets. Bring your friends, come alone. We are here for you. Miami is happening December 12th with Nikki Novo. She is an intuitive psychic. She's been one of our audience's favorite. So that's going to be amazing. Tickets on our website. Podcast Bro is relaunching in January. We will help you get the business podcast of your dreams, yourpodcastpro.com. It's Krista on Instagram.
I'm at Lindsay Simsick. Can't wait to chat.
Peace and love.
I don't know, man. I love y'all.
Bye.